We're in the greenhouse studio today. Even though it's still snowy outside, the snow has been here for over a week. What are you doing today, Maureen? We are in the studio getting ready to plant. Yay! Today we are going to be starting onions and leeks, and I want to give you the homesteading guide to planting your onion and leek seeds indoors, which makes it super ideal for people like me, who I'm an urban homesteader, but for just your backyard garden. This is a great thing to have, and you can grow your onions and your leeks in pots. So if you're limited for space or you only have a little balcony, you can grow your own onions throughout the year. So I'm going to be talking about seed selection, the starting mix, and just best all practices. I might touch a little bit on the practicing of transplanting once the seedlings are ready to go out. Why onions and leeks are great for backyard gardeners and urban homesteaders? Well, number one, it is awesome when you can grow your own food. And when you look at the prices of fresh vegetables, it's worth it for you to get a little packet of seeds for a couple of bucks and grow your own fresh vegetables, knowing what exactly is in the food and know that it's fresh. And also, when you are starting your seeds indoors, you get to be in control of everything. So you're going to be able to protect it from the harsh weather if it's not time for it to go out. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips that are really great for new growers, you know, just to get your feet wet with it, which will hopefully encourage you to grow your own onions and leeks. Onions and leeks are fairly easy to start in a seedling tray. I'm going to be using these 6-cell type of growing trays. And these are from Modern Grower. They are so strong and sturdy, so they don't, you know, get all that crinkliness, and you use them year after year. And these will be passed down to my kids and their kids. You know, you can actually stand on top of these and they don't crush down. Want to see? Doo-doo. So I bought these from Epic Gardening quite a few years ago, and they are a pretty high penny, and of course with the Canadian exchange rate then they were even more. But the great thing is that they last forever. But you don't need to have these type of trays to start your gardening. You can use any kind of tray to start your own seeds. I have 12 trays that I'm going to be doing, and I've got a variety of seeds. You always want to pick seeds from a reputable company. And so I actually started getting most of my seeds from Rainbow Seeds. Rainbow Seeds, their seeds are reasonably priced. They're all non-GMO and heirloom seeds, which is what you really, really want when you're going to be growing your own vegetables. I have an affiliate link with Rainbow Seeds, and I will leave it down in the description. And if you do order from them, you can use my discount of Diva 10 to get 10% off your seeds. But one of the great things is that they pack a lot of seeds in each of their packages, and the prices are really reasonable. So let's talk about the kind of onions I'm going to grow this year. Okay, well, some of them, because I do have more to go and get. With my leeks, I'm going to be doing an autumn giant, and this one is great because it's going to grow through the summer, and I can be harvesting in through the fall and winter. And because my climate is so mild, I can actually let it continue to grow. You know, watching, you know, if we do get some really heavy freezing days or whatever. So with the leeks, autumn giant, and then this is called a Malabar. These are some older seeds, so I'm going to be putting those in. And of course, the giant Musselburgh leek, that is a great leek to also grow. On the other side, I have some onion seeds from 2023. They might be storage onions, which would be great because those ones you can store, you know, year round. I don't know, because I don't package the seeds right after they dry. I sometimes let them sit for months. I'm going to do some of those because I want to see if they'll germinate. I'm also going to be doing bunching onions. Just because for the green tops, when we do Korean dishes and things like that, like making kimchi or other kind of Asian dishes, we love having green onions. And green onions now, it's like $3 for a couple of onions. And the one thing that's really great when you are going to be growing green onions is that just cut the tops off and they'll keep producing. It's like a cut and come again. Or even still, if you have bought some onions, don't use the white part, cut that off, put it in some water, and then once the weather warms up, go put it in some soil, and that onion will continue to produce, and you will get your money's worth. In the yellow onions, I'm doing one called Alyssa Craig, and of course a Walla Walla onion. And then I am going to do, just because these are packages from a couple of years ago, These are also a Walla Walla. And so I'm gonna have the two varieties, and I'm going to, you know, kind of overpack my seedling trays. So let's talk about dirt. You can use any soil that you want to use, even if you have some compost outside. Some people will grow in that. You know, there is no real harm to it, but I do buy a propagation mix, and this has no nutrition in it. It mostly has Canadian sphagnum peat moss in it, and it does have some dolite in it, and it is really dry. This is from last year. I just bought the big bale, and this is what was left over. And so this doesn't have the nutrition, and that's the amazing thing with seeds. The teeniest tiny of seeds, it has everything that it's going to need to grow, all packed in that teeny tiny seed to get it going. And then once it does start, then I will start adding nutrition to the soil as well. As you can see, this was very, very dry soil. When I'm starting, I'm going to pre-moisten this soil. Here it is here, and what I did is I just put the big chunks in there, started to break them up, and then I just went, nah, let me just throw some water in it and just mix it up with my hands and get it to a place where the consistency, where it will actually kind of form together. You don't want to have it where it's soaking wet, where it's dripping out. If it is, then you're going to have to add some more soil or wait for it to dry out a bit more. But I mixed all that up. Another really great thing to have for labeling, as far as I'm concerned, is painter's tape and a Sharpie. And so basically what I do is I write what the item is. So if I was saying onion, and I go Walla Walla, and I go rainbow seeds. It's important. If you have just amazing success with your vegetables, you'll want to know, what company did I buy that from, so that you can continue to buy from them. And then I take these off and put them onto the end before I fill them up. And so that way I'll know exactly what is in this one. So I just filled up the tray as per normal, but many times what I will do is I will actually just bring the tray in and pack it in there, making sure that it's full enough, and then replace it into my tray here. I already pre-did these. They're all labeled and ready to go. And so we're gonna start adding our seeds. We're gonna start with the Malabar, and this is an early leek. So that's the really great thing, is that these will come earlier. I think it said 16 weeks or so when they're ready, as long as it has all the right conditions, right? You know, did it get enough water? Did it have enough drainage? All those things. I've never found that I could harvest a leek in 16 weeks, but I'm hopeful. Now look at how tiny these seeds are, and it's amazing to think that it has everything it needs to start growing. It just needs a little bit of soil, some warmth, and some water, and it will germinate. Now I'm doing all of these seeds because I am planning to sell some of these seedlings, and so I can kind of overstuff each of these trays. Like for yourself, you probably want to do, you know, 3 to 5 for each is probably enough, but I'm going to overseed these. And the great thing is that their root system is so hardy that when you go to transplant them, they don't have any issues at all. It's very forgiving for Mama, and that's what she needs. So we got our little babies in there, and then we're just gonna put a little light. Leeks need to go in just a little bit deeper than the onions, but I am going to just cover them with a little bit of soil, again, just to keep them in the dark for right now. They need a nice dark place. And here is an extra bonus tip that I just learned is using vermiculite to go over top of them. I was watching Rochelle from Brampton Gardener, and she uses soil blocks, and you do need to check that out. And that's another really great way of growing your seedlings. And at the end of her video, she had something on top that, you know, I thought, that looks like vermiculite. I thought, she didn't show that part, but she said, yes, this is a great thing to put on, helps to keep the moisture in the trays. And then as well, it also stops the little soil gnats from getting into your soil. So that was like a win-win. And you know, a bag is not very expensive, and it goes a long way. I think I've had that for like 3 years. And then lastly, I collect water, rainwater from outside from the gutters, and then we're just gonna do just a gentle water over top. And voila, our leeks are ready to grow. While I'm planting up all of the Walla Walla onions and the Alyssa ones, all the info about the care of your onions. When you're caring for them, you want them in a bright location but out of direct sunlight, and maintain a consistent temperature of about 70-75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's best that you water the seedlings regularly, keeping, the mix moist but not boggy. So it's really great if you do have your starter trays in a tray, you can do watering from below, which is really good. And then when the seedlings have several true leaves, thin them out, and that way it's giving them ample space for growth. And then also, once the seedlings get up to a certain height, we are going to give them a haircut and trimming, and it's basically once they get their set of true leaves. But the main thing is that you don't want to prune any more than 50%. So those 6 tips. Be patient. For these to germinate, it could take 7 to 14 days, but sometimes it can take a little longer, depending on, is it warm enough? Sometimes, was it a viable seed? Once it gets too long, you just let it go. Tip number 2, common problems with them. They get kind of leggy. You just need to move them to a brighter location. Or in this case, what I'll be doing is I will be moving them closer to the light. If you see mold or algae on your soil, well, that means that there isn't enough airflow and that you're probably doing a little too much overwatering. And so, again, kind of create that environment where they are getting more airflow. I have seen, some people put some herbs onto their soil as well. Like I've put cinnamon on some of mine. I think it was my peppers one year, just to kind of help. And once they do start growing, if you're going, hey, why aren't these growing fast? Or what's wrong with them? Make sure that you've got a good fertilizer that you're using. Number 1, make sure you feed them and that you are using a good fertilizer, because with the ones that I have in here, there is no nutrition. So once they get through their seed, they will be done. Now, as I was talking about these modern grower 6-cell seed trays, if it's not in your budget to do that, you can use yogurt containers, any sort of plastic containers, as long as you put drainage holes in it. One of my favorite ones that I still use to this day is the rotisserie chicken containers. That's the perfect size for growing seedlings. And then you get the dome lid on top of it. Again, just make sure that there is drainage holes in there. If you are just using a regular container and you don't have a dome lid for it, you can just use some saran wrap to start with it, and that will work out just fine. Watch that it doesn't get too wet and boggy. What you doing? Oh, what you doing, Cleo? Cleo's in here helping me. And of course, as you saw me before, always remember to label. My first year, I did some labeling and I put it on popsicle sticks, and it was with an ink pen. And once I put the dome over top of it, that ink pen just all, ran, and I didn't know what I was growing. So always remember to do the labeling. And with the painter's tape, it goes on easy, comes off easy, and you can change them at any time. Got my dome lid, and I'll put on top of it here. And now the reason why you want to be giving your onions and leeks haircuts is it helps to strengthen the plant. Go, so that, because if they start to flop over, they're not strong enough. And so when you give them their little haircut, which you can eat those little ends, that's going to help to focus the energy to go into the roots and to strengthen it and make it a hardier seedling ready for transplanting. So we do want to do those little cuts. As I said before, germination for both leeks and onions, it's anywhere between 7 and 14 days. Where are you going, Miss Cleo? The seedling stage for onions is about 6 to 8 weeks before transplanting, but don't be transplanting if it's not warm outside. You might have to pot them, or if you were planning to grow them in a container, you can pot them right into that container and then just leave it inside until it's ready to go out. Green onions are mature about 6 to 8 weeks after you plant them. The bulb onions can take 3 to 4 months, and then the storage onions are anywhere from 3.5 to 5 months before they're ready. Come here, sweet chicken. Okay. So again, with the leeks, 7 to 14 days for germination. So I'll be checking these, over the next week and a bit. The seedling stage, it's a bit longer, so about 8 to 10 weeks for the seedlings before they're ready to go out. And you can harvest baby leeks, which are, they're lovely and delicious, and they have such a mild flavor. With a full-size leek, you want to have about 4 to 5 months, and then even beyond that, depending on how many you've grown, and if you've, overseeded and you've grown too many, then you can just continue to use them. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And Miss Cleo and I are gonna go into the house and get some dinner, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. I hope that you're gonna be growing some leeks and some onions this year. Are you gonna say bye-bye? Are you gonna say bye-bye? Was that fun? Was it fun in the studio? It was? Had a good time planting with me? Yeah? Oh, okay. Take care. God bless.